When we take refuge, we are surrendering to the outer Buddha, the Buddha who became a Buddha. And on the inside, we surrender to our own inner Buddha. You see, when we surrender to the inner Buddha, our actions become more positive because we're surrendering to something positive. So surrendering to a Buddha is not letting go of control of your life. It's getting control. Why? When you surrender to the outer Buddha, Shakyamuni, Tsongkhapa, Manjushri, when you surrender to the outer Buddha, you are recognizing that there is a Buddha, that Buddhahood is possible. So you are not surrendering to a God or to a deity that controls you. You are surrendering to your potential and to a being who has reached that potential. So therefore, when you surrender or take refuge to a Buddha, you are surrendering to that potential outside who have achieved that potential, a Buddha. Who has achieved that potential, a Buddha. And you're surrendering inside to the potential you have to become a Buddha. Because we're very used to putting ourselves down, having low self-esteem, not believing in ourselves, becoming depressed. That comes from believing that we're not able to do anything, not wanting to do something. So taking refuge counters that kind of attitude. Counters. It takes some time, depends how deep that attitude is. It counters that self-defeating attitude. I can't. I won't. I don't know how. I'm not able to. It counters. Why? Because Buddha says you can if you apply the effort. So when you surrender to a Buddha, Namo Buddhaya, it has that kind of depth and meaning. It's very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. Then you surrender to the Dharma every day. When you surrender to the Dharma every single day, you are surrendering to the Eightfold Path, to the Four Noble Truths, to the concept of wrong projection. And you are surrendering to a concept of there's end to suffering and end to samsara. You are surrendering to a concept of cause and effect. When you surrender to the Dharma, you stop blaming other people, or you blame other people less, and you become less angry. Anger comes that when we feel we've been wronged, or we've been slighted, or disrespected, or not given our due. So therefore, anger arises, and that anger grows in time and becomes big. And when it becomes very big, it's uncontrollable, and it creates so much suffering for ourselves and others. So when we take refuge in the Dharma, it counters that anger. Why? When we take refuge in the Dharma, we are taking refuge in taking responsibility. Cause and effect is just another beautiful phrase for responsibility. Past and present and future. That means all the nasty and ugly and unpleasant things that happen to me is a result of the causes I've created before. So me to get angry at others is illogical. So when we take refuge in the Dharma and we take refuge from our heart and surrender, anger becomes less. Acceptance grows. Acceptance grows. Acceptance of others and acceptance of ourselves. In acceptance of ourselves, then we accept others. Anger will become less. Real anger. Real anger. Manjushri is not angry. He's wrathful. Saramji was not angry. Saramji was very wrathful. Not angry. Because anger denotes harm. They don't have harm. So hence, when we take refuge in the Dharma, and we take surrender to the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, cause and effect, there's an end to samsara. Then we take full confidence in cause and effect, karma, karma, yinguo. When we take refuge in that, the first thing we see less is anger. Really. People want anger management, nothing better than taking refuge in the Dharma. Real refuge. Because why? When you take refuge in the Dharma, you stop blaming. It's a little painful in the beginning because you have to look at yourself and face that you are the author of your own problem. You have created your own problem. So it's very, very painful to face. But, during detox, when we do drugs or alcohol or cigarettes or whatever, or criminals, rapists, all that, they have to go through detox. They put them away, or they go to a clinic, or they go to a special home. So while they're detoxing, they scream, they yell, they go through so much pain because they're wiping away all that they put in their body. It's coming out. Similarly, when we do meditations, we'll have anger. We'll have doubts. We'll have very, very disharmony. We'll have a lot of mind games that arise because you're detoxing your mind. It's coming out. So during retreats, lots of obstacles arise. Disharmony, fighting, disagreements. Small things become very big during retreats. Always in the monasteries, everywhere. Why? You're detoxing. So during retreat, we have to be extra patient with ourselves and others because you're making everything come out. Everything's going to come out. So therefore, when you take refuge in the Dharma, real refuge, and I'm not talking about Tibetan Buddhism or Hinayana Buddhism or Mahayana, I'm talking about Buddhism. When you take refuge in the Dharma, anger will become less. And anger is the root cause of many problems that we make for ourselves and others. And we will face ourselves better. And that's very beautiful. Why? That's the purpose of life, to be happy, to make others happy. Because you take responsibility. Why do you take responsibility? Because you believe in the Buddha. Buddha taught that you are the author of good and bad, karma. So if you take refuge in the Buddha, you have to take refuge in cause and effect. If you take refuge in cause and effect, then there is the Buddha. If you don't take refuge in cause and effect, there is no Buddha. So if you don't believe in cause and effect, you blame others, you don't believe in the Buddha. If you don't believe in the Buddha, you're not even Buddhist. If you're not Buddhist, if you do this practice, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So hence, it's all interconnected. Although refuge is very simple, it's extremely complex in result. So hence, if you believe in Buddha, you must believe in cause and effect. If you believe in cause and effect, you won't blame others. If you don't blame others, you take responsibility. When you take responsibility, you become less angry. When you become less angry, there's more harmony. It's very logical. No magic here. I like that word, no magic, no super, very logical. So you take refuge in the Dharma. When you take refuge in Dharma, you should think about karma and what you've done in your life that you regret and the things you've done that you don't regret and you're happy about. And rejoice and contemplate. So refuge can be a long process of meditation if we do it correctly. Now, you take refuge in a Sangha. The Sangha are not necessarily monks and nuns. The Sangha are the people who give you correct advice. The Sangha are the people who give you the correct example. The Sangha are the people who inspire you and push you to the next level. The Sangha can be yourself, because sometimes we inspire ourselves when we do something good. So Sangha specifically refers to out of samsara beings. Example, Arya beings. Arya is out of samsara. They cannot take rebirth in samsara anymore. So the representatives of the Arya beings are Sangha, or monks and nuns. They're representative. But Sangha can also be lay people who have already came out of samsara. So therefore we take refuge. So in our case, representatives of the Sangha is not so many, so we can take refuge or take confidence in people that have worked hard. Example, people who work hard for a center, who volunteer their time, that donate to the center, that give and really make everything happen. We can take refuge, not necessarily in them, but take refuge in their contribution and rejoice and to contemplate on their contribution. So in countries like this that Buddhism is pioneering, there's not really strong examples of Sangha. We can take examples of people in the center who donate a lot, their time, their skills, their love, their energy, their effort, and they work hard and they benefit others. They should inspire people who do not that. So people who do that, we can take refuge in not necessarily them, but their effort. How do we take refuge in the effort? We admire, we rejoice, and we aspire. Rejoice, admire, and aspire. Because if the hardworking lay people in the Dharma center does not work, none of this would happen. Because this was all done by people. It didn't manifest from the sky. It didn't manifest from illusion or magic. This all manifested from the effort of people, everything around. Even the chair you're sitting on is manifested from people. Even a single light bulb was put in there by someone. Even the electricity that you are enjoying and the aircon is paid by somebody. So the hard effort that other people put, that you don't put, you should admire, rejoice, and aspire to. And how? Instead of criticizing people in the center or criticizing others or creating factions, we should in fact rejoice and talk beautiful things about people who do good work. Why? Because you want more people to do more good work. If you criticize people who work all the time, you might make them not work, and then one doesn't work, another doesn't work, another doesn't work, then everybody doesn't work. Then the center is finished. So hence, making factions in a center should be left outside of the center or left altogether away. in the center should be harmonious and beautiful. Why? Because everything was created from the effort. Somebody paid. Somebody stayed up late. Somebody prepared. Somebody made phone calls. Somebody cleaned up. You're saying, oh, well, I'm busy with my family. I'm busy with my life. I'm busy with my job. Everybody's busy with everything. Everybody's normal here. There's no monks in the audience. There's no nuns in the audience. Everybody's the same. But how come some people can take away time from their family and work and pressures to do Dharma work and some don't? So hence, we take refuge in the people who, their effort of the people who make that kind of contribution. So taking refuge in the Sangha can be like that. So taking refuge is Namo Guru Be, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Triratnaya. Triratnaya is 3 jewels. I take refuge in 3 jewels and nothing else. Nothing else. So that's very powerful.